In this month's video, I'm going to ask you to guess where I am. There'll be some clues because I'll show you some video from around this area, but I won't be telling you till a bit later on where we are, unless you've got an app called What 3 Words, in which case the words are implicitly mortgages, bloopers. If you've got the app, you can find out where I am. The rest of you will have to wait. So the place where we were just before was a hide, obviously, on a nature reserve, and you couldn't actually tell where you were from any other means because there was no mobile signal and all you had was satellites. So we've come into a mobile range now, and there's lots of people about here, and for some reason there's a cat down here on the beach, and the cat's wearing a collar. That's very unusual, but as you may have gathered, we are in Spain. The clue was in one of the signs, and I'm getting very distracted by this cat, which is now going down on the beach following a dog. That's peculiar. That's not what I came here to talk about. I came here to talk about the app, My 3 Words. Mercedes have taken on this app. It splits the whole of the planet into 3-meter squares, and each square has 3 words to describe it. So you don't need a postcode. And a postcode around this area of Spain is useless because it covers absolutely loads of kilometres. It doesn't tell you anything about where you are. So My 3 Words is brilliant for this, and this actually puts us on the map. Mercedes have taken this on. Hello, we've been joined by ducks. They were being fed just around the corner before, and now obviously they've stopped. The cat is going for a walk with some people. The whole place is distracting me totally. Perhaps we should get on with something else. I'm not quite sure what yet. Have a look at Mercedes and what they're doing with My 3 Words.
So you get into your Mercedes, you press the voice button, say 3 words, and know it will route you to exactly where you want to go.
There was a little dog in there. The nature reserve that we started out in this month is behind me, about a kilometre down the coast. Well, it's that up the coast because it's north from here. And this is Ribera de Cabanas, which is the area we've been in this week. There's loads of campsites over that way. We're going to have a look at those later. For now, I want to concentrate on this row of old houses. So I'm just waving people past. They don't have to stop for me, they can keep going. Yeah, this row of houses here is threatened. They're beautiful houses. They're old-fashioned, they're traditional, and they belong here. The people who live in them have lived here for generations. Their grandparents, their great-grandparents lived here, and now the Spanish Coastal Authority says they can't stop. They can't stay here. They're going to be demolished. And the reason they give is that they're squatters, they say. And the reason they're saying that is because they haven't got title deeds. They're not registered, and they don't know what to do about it. So what they are doing is getting up a petition. They're aiming for 50,000 signatures, and that's well underway here at Ribera de Cabanas. Okay, this is an area in between the campsites. The one on the left is called Maria. They like girls' names. That restaurant over there behind me was called Christina's, but Christina's no longer there. As a tribute, her name is still on one of the items on the menu. Now, the whole of this area was just rough ground when we first came here. There was just on the patch behind me, there was a restaurant that was in a pretty poor state, but it did nice coffee and cake. But they've redeveloped this whole area. There's now a lot of parking, and there's new apartments going up nearby, so the road system's all been improved. It's changed a lot. I hope you can come back soon. We're going to go into Christina's, which is now called El Rincon. Just El Rincon, the El Rincon restaurant, but it's got a lovely courtyard where you can sit under the trees and have a drink. So that's where we're going. Where are you going? You're going back to the UK, because we're going to have a look around York and York Minster. Well, we tried to get a look at York Minster. It's so big you can't really film it because it's surrounded by buildings and trees and things, but the rest of York was interesting. As you wander around York, you'll see a few Viking influences, including the Jorvik Viking Centre. This was dug up by the York Archaeological Trust between 1976 and 1981, and it shows the Viking Age city of Jorvik as it stood nearly 1,000 years ago. We found out that we could get a good view of York Minster if we went up Clifford's Tower, but on going to find Clifford's Tower, found it was currently under development. It's pretty much all that remains of the York Castle built by William the Conqueror. It's been a prison, a royal mint, but now it's just a place where you can enjoy unrivaled views across the city of York. We didn't stay in York city centre on our travels, as parking's a bit of an issue. We took a park and ride into the city and we went to the Postern Gate. Now, the fact there's a travel lodge above doesn't interest us at this point. It's a huge Wetherspoons below, and the site backs onto the River Foss. Wetherspoons have several outdoor spaces. One of them you can see in our pictures backs onto the River Foss, and you can see an old watermill opposite. One of the few things I can remember from my school days is that the Latin name for York is Eburacum, and same way that I know that Chester is called Diva, and that's about all of my Latin. I did get the O-level, but I haven't really used it that much since. York city centre is very much like other cities. It's quite spacious to walk around the shopping area, and we went to lunch at the Wetherspoons you just saw, but we'd had morning coffee at Betty's Tea Rooms. Now, Betty's I thought was just in Harrogate. I didn't realise they'd spread out. It's very popular wherever they open, and we had to queue to get our morning coffee. One of the most relaxing views we got of York Minster was sitting in the grounds and looking at it through the trees and the squirrels running about everywhere. We'd stayed at Pickering for our trip to York, and there was a good reason for that, because the other side of Pickering you can follow the North Yorkshire Moors Railway up to Goathland. So as my alter ego is still busy drinking in Spain, we'll carry on up to Goathland, and it's, as you may know, heartbeat country. For those who never watched ITV's Heartbeat programme, it's set in a Yorkshire village in the 60s. The village was called Aidensfield for the programme, and as you wander around Goathland you can still see the Aidensfield name in a number of places. The pub was called the Aidensfield Arms. It isn't anymore, but the board looks as though you could be taken down and replaced quite quickly. And opposite the pub there's Scripps Funeral Services. He also ran a garage there, and that business seems to still be doing not only souvenirs and things, but his own ice cream, Scripps ice cream. Who knew? As steam enthusiasts will know, Goathland Station still has a steam service running through there most of the year. There's some interesting steam engines that we filmed there, which we'll be showing you next month. But for now, we're going to head for the tea rooms. We discovered that even in the autumn, the weather's good enough to sit out in the gardens at the back, although it's not a good time of year for the wasps. Still, we kept them at bay by giving them the remains of the jam we'd had with our afternoon tea. So this is the Spanish coast, and this is the Mediterranean, as you might just guess. And the area where we bought an apartment, we put the money down in 2004, and the sale was completed in 2006. And ever since, we've been able to come here every year, with the notable exception of last year and most of this year, and we've been able to enjoy this and go back to our apartment over there. And for those who have camper vans and other sorts of camping equipment, there are campsites all along this coast as well. So you've got a mixture of apartments and campsites and restaurants and bars and lots of outdoor life here in the winter in sunny Spain. Camping Riveramar, we only actually tried out a couple of years ago, and it was in the evenings. But on this visit, quite by chance, we were walking along Avenida Barcelona, the main dual carriageway through the area, and a couple of cyclists stopped and called out my name. Now we'll have a look at their bike later because it's an interesting tandem, but they were on this particular campsite, Camping Riveramar. So what three words came into it again, because you look at a big campsite and wonder where their pitch is, but of course it's described because of the size of a square that's defined by what three words. So they sent us that by text. When we got to the campsite, they were outside waiting for us, and they led us in to see Gladys. So thanks to Jean and John for their hospitality and the coffee and cake, and also for letting us have a look around Gladys, their motorhome. Gladys has a garage where the tandem is kept. It's a folding tandem, so an interesting model. And John has fitted an electric motor to one of the wheels, so they can actually go further afield without getting worn out. It's a sunny day here in Spain, and at this time of year that's not unusual. We've had temperatures in the 30s. Behind me is an olive tree. It's an actual old olive tree that they've managed to restore, keep it going. And I don't actually like olives, but the trees are nice. Anyway, I didn't come here to talk about olives. I came here to talk about digital money, and in particular Bitcoin, because in 2009 Bitcoin was worth next to nothing when it was first coded up and invented. By who, we still don't know, but it has taken off several times during its history, and this year I decided to put some of my own money into Bitcoin. It's gone up past 40,000 now, and we're keeping an eye on it. So now I'm going to tell you how I got into it. In January I started with little bits of money in my Revolut account, the Revolut card, which allows me to spend money in any country in the world with no foreign exchange fees, and so I use this in Spain occasionally. I also have an N26 bank account in Spain, so that all my apartment costs are taken care of. However, this is the new one, and you don't need to get very close to this to see what it is. It's just very colourful. The thing about this is, it's denominated in euros and Bitcoin. So I've mainly got Bitcoin on here. if I want to go into a shop, this is a Visa card, by the way, a Visa debit card, I can spend my Bitcoin on this card. I could actually do that on the Revolut card as well already, but the point is, it's getting more and more concentrated. If you've got a PayPal account, you'll probably find that over the next month or two, you'll be able to buy Bitcoin in there, and you'll be able to spend it as well with your PayPal balance. So watch out, get yourself into Bitcoin. It's still going higher. There's a feeling that you've missed out. You didn't. I thought I missed out in 2017 when it skyrocketed, but it's still going strong. Right now, mid-November, Taproot upgrade to Bitcoin means it's going to go up and up. The NuRi card I was showing you there is from a German bank. You can therefore trade anywhere in Europe. But here's a solution for the UK. It's called Mode. The Mode app is where I've been buying my Bitcoin in the UK most recently. They give you an account with a UK sort code and account number. You transfer money into it from an account in your name, and you buy and sell Bitcoin in there. As I've said before, even in the winter it's hot in Spain, and it has its moments of storms obviously, but this time it is hot. I'd like to tell you a little bit about the way this area is laid out. The road to the left here is Avenida Barcelona. It's a dual carriageway that runs right through the middle of the resort. You've got frontline apartments there, and then the sea, the Mediterranean, has some gardens that bring the first row of apartments back from the sea the legal amount, because they're not allowed to build on the seafront. Then you've got the Avenida Barcelona, then you've got some more apartments on a second line. Now, all this area once was campsites, and they've all been demolished, and the evidence is one in here where a campsite has been totally closed down, but you can, as they haven't developed this particular plot of land, you can see some of the remnants of it on the other side of the road. And even in 2007 when we first came here, that looked like that, and we called it the Russian bar because a Russian woman was running it as a bar. She didn't have a license, but she did it anyway. That's since been closed down, but nobody's built on it again, so another ex-campsite that's just sitting there waiting to be done. And what happened? Well, 2008 happened, that grand world financial crash. So here we are with some campsites, some apartments, and a coach going by. So just a quick recap. From the sea, you've got a strip of gardens, you've got the first line apartments, you've got Avenida Barcelona, a second line of apartments, and a bit of wasteland, and then you hit the main railway line that goes north and south along the Spanish coast. The first train you'll see is a 3-car regional express. It's a stopping train that goes up and down the coast between Barcelona and Valencia. The other longer trains you'll see hardly stop at all. They used to stop at Oropesa a couple of times during the day, but they don't seem to anymore. They express their way right down the coast, north to south. We're paying another visit to Western Australia this month, courtesy of the drone flown by Phil and sometimes by Colette. As we were flying along the beach last month, you may have noticed some rather nice apartments with views across the Indian Ocean. We thought Phil should go back and get a closer view of these, so he went and circled round them. The other thing about this area, apart from the ocean views, is that it's backed up to a golf course, which is interesting because occasionally you will see a kangaroo on the golf course. We're assured they don't actually play golf, but they are about. Well, it's Australia, isn't it? I'm in Castellón de la Plana, which is the nearest city to where we've been all week, and we're taking a bit of a break here. I've come in to buy some ink for my printer. This behind me is El Corte Inglés, which is supposed to be an English-styled department store. Whether it is or not, I don't know, probably. But as I'm not a great shopper, I wouldn't really know. So this park has got some really tall trees. They're very difficult to get a video of because TVs are widescreen and you actually need to turn them that way around like people do with their phones to get an idea of just how tall these trees are. I can also see lots of little midges flying around because we're near a lake, so we're all going to get bitten here. Well, sorry, we're both going to get bitten. There are only two of us. There's Ruth on the camera, there's me here with all this. This is the technology part of the video. This is my latest piece of video technology that I've been using. It's again an Osmo product. It's the OM5, the Osmo Mobile version 5. It's a gimbal stick, just like my early cameras, like all the Osmos I've had since 2016. It hinges easily like that. So what you do with this one is you use it with a mobile phone. I'm not a great fan of using a phone as a camera, but people do it. So let's try and get it a bit more stable, and this gimbal device will do that. Magnetic, the version 5, I believe the version 4 as well, had a magnetic clamp for the phone. It clamps on there, and once you've got that on, you can see it's sort of free floating at the moment. I'm going to power up the gimbal and it should right itself. I like it when things work. Then there's a button here to switch it into landscape mode. What I haven't done yet is load the software, but what I am going to do right now is load up the software on this phone and go and walk around the park and shoot some footage with this to see what it's like. Now, I tried it yesterday at Marina d'Or in the main gardens there, and it was a bit jittery with my normal phone, which is a shame because my current Nokia phone has got the best camera out of these two, but this one seems to behave better on the stick. So I'm going to take it around the park now and get some footage to show you. There's El Corte Inglés, and panning down, there's the lake in the park opposite. So pan left, there's the rest of the lake. Oh, there's some to the right actually. If I pan round to the right, there's a bit more lake over there. And now you should be able to switch cameras with the joystick on this controller. That's switched it to portrait mode. That's not what I wanted. I'm sure there's a button on here to turn to the front camera so I can see you. Not happening. We should have, if I walk with this, we should have a steady picture like I do with all the other Osmo cameras. There's steps ahead of me. What I'm looking for is shake-free operation. See if I can pan up a bit. These trees are really tall. You can get a better idea if I do that. Now I'm starting to have a few troubles with this. It's not as perfect as you might think. If I can just come around here, I'm able to, can you see that all right? I'm able to get this into shot using this, and I'm able to swivel the camera around to get it where I want it, but my red button stopped working, so I'm having now to press the red button on the screen to start recording. Now that's something that happened with another camera I tried with this, so it's not perfect, but it does mean that you can go somewhere with just your phone, which most people take with them, and put this stick which folds away in your pocket. Has a few other tricks up its sleeve, so I'm not going to dismiss it straight away. I'm going to just turn it off again. No, I'm going to have to turn it off from the screen. Okay, so here's what else you can do apart from the obvious. Just turn it off for a minute so it relaxes. It has an extension. Now this is the OM5 is the first one to have this. So what this means is, if it's working properly, you can angle this phone at yourself and use it as a selfie stick. I haven't tried that yet, but that's a new trick that the latest version of this has added. Other than that, apparently it's similar to the previous ones, and you finished with it, magnetically unclip it, fold it away, and it comes with a cloth bag to store it in. Just get that into its most convenient shape, and it goes in a little bag, and you take it with you and your phone. That's all you need, and you're making movies. And that concludes this month's Smart Trek from the east coast of Spain, from the Costa del Azahar, and in particular from Ribera de Cabanes, and also from parts of the Marina d'Or resort. I hope you can join me again next month when we'll have a few more views of Spain, and of course we'll be back in the UK and it'll be nearly Christmas.